Waterfall, the CCW podcast.
Hello and welcome to Waterfall. It's a water saving podcast brought to you by CCW. That's the Consumer Council for Water. We're all about saving water, saving money, protecting the environment and combating climate change. We've got a really great episode for you today where we are walking with water in Wales. We've got not one walk, but two walks. Now, I'm joined, as usual, by producer Tom. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Mike.
It's just us?
It is just us.
Well, again, what have we done to them? Where are our co-hosts? Where's co-host Karen? Where's co-host Cash? They were on a bit of a roll.
So they were. We requested them, but they're not here. But we're here, and we've got donuts near us. It's a great vibe over here.
We do have donuts, and they're not ours.
No, they're not. Sadly,
so they're at risk. But yeah, a great episode coming up. And Tom, this is something that you're involved with, not as a producer, Tom, but as Tom.
Indeed,
who
actual
works for
work.
CCW.
Yeah.
You've got a proper job.
I do.
Well, so just tell us, what's this all about?
Well, I mean, we went into depth in episode 15, which is Walking Water, which people remember, which was our first episode where we got outside the studio. It was me, you and Emma, Sonning, George Clooney.
So Emma's our chief executive.
Emma Clancy,
so just a bit of context there.
Yeah, it's so conversational here.
We were all well behaved in that episode because Emma, we were being chaperoned by the boss.
Pretty much, yeah. It was. That was a great episode. But yes, so we launched this thing called Walking Water last year, which essentially is promoting people getting outside, connecting with a local water supply, all in hope to kind of enforce better water efficiency habits and just a better awareness, really, that, you know, it's a cycle. The river running by our feet is the same as the water running out of our taps. So it's very important to consider the fragility and preciousness of this. So for the summer of 2023, it hasn't really been a relaunch, but we've got a new website. We've got lots of new assets on there. We work with a lot of new partners. New
assets, Tom. You are so corporate. Come on, just explain. What do you mean by an asset?
An asset is like what we're doing right now, Mike. Like a podcast is the new asset.
So just new stuff. We've got new stuff that people can look at.
New things. Yeah, new shiny things on there.
Assets.
And, we're doing this podcast to promote that. And as much as Mike hates this, he has asked to relinquish the reins of the show over to another one of our colleagues, Leah, who has chatted to two fascinating Welsh people, because we cover England and Wales here in CCW, Mike. And the first episode of Walking Water, episode 15, was all about England. This is all about Wales. So Leah, we're going to hear her very shortly. She speaks to Tony Rees, who is an elder statesman of the rivers in Wales. And she also speaks to Wyn Kelly, who is a land artist. And you'll have to hear the episode to find out what that actually is.
I can't wait. I genuinely can't wait to hear these interviews. Not heard them yet, so I can't wait. And from what I've heard, it's going to be really good stuff. Now there is something I just want to question. So we've got Leah, who actually featured in an episode on Greece.
Greece is the word.
Yeah, a few episodes ago. And so she's been going on the walks with these guests, and you'll find out more in just a second. So I just have a question, Tom.
Yeah.
We've got Karen, co-host Karen, who
yes.
absolutely loves outside, loves
the
gardening.
And, yeah.
Every single time we've done an episode outside, so Walking with Water 1, we've been to David Clubb's garden to find out his sponge garden.
Love
fabulous
that one.
episode.
Yep.
Fabulous episode. And we've also went to Havant Thicket down near Portsmouth to find out restaurant. All those episodes, not that Karen didn't go to any of those. So what did you do to her? Did you bench her deliberately to punish her, Tom? What's going on there?
I don't know. I think it's Karen's natural habitat is the outdoors. So it baffles me as well. Podcast at ccwater.org.uk. Get in touch. Maybe you have a theory, because I am
what's
confused.
happened to Karen?
Yeah.
Great segue there into plugging. You can get in touch, and we do love hearing from you. As Tom's just name checked, we've got an email address, podcast at ccwater.org.uk. You can get in touch with us. Also, we're on Twitter, we're on Threads, we're on Instagram. Just search for Waterfall Podcast, and you will find us. You'll see some behind the scenes stuff, and it's interesting. If you like the pod, you'll love that stuff. Please check us out and like and share all our good stuff. So, as Tom's explained, we've got great interviews coming up. So without further ado, let's bring on the guests.
Be sure to head back through the archives and check out all the past episodes of Waterfall.
I'm here with Tony from South East Wales Rivers Trust, who also is part of Afonydd, the umbrella organisation of all rivers trusts in Wales. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm Tony Rees. I'm the chairman of the South East Wales Rivers Trust. We started the Rivers Trust in 2007. So it's been going now about 15 years. I got into it through my role with the local angling club, and I've always been interested in the water supplies from the point of view of fishing. But that then led me into the fact that we're now looking at water as a very precious resource in our environment. I had the MBE for services to angling in 2005, and I progressed then with Rivers Trust after that. I'm here at the moment where the little Taff Wrekin really comes to be the Taff Wrekin properly, because the whole watershed of the Taff Wrekin was taken up when they built Ponstickis Reservoir. Before that, the Taff Wrekin rises just below Pen y Fan. It comes down through all the old reservoir systems, which are really interesting in themselves to look at. And this is at the point we are now. This is where it actually forms the Taff Wrekin to run down and to form the River Taff, which goes to Cardiff.
Help me understand this, because I love the Taff Trail. So basically we are on the Taff Trail. So can you help me understand the difference between the Taff River and the Taff Wrekin?
Right, the Taff River is the main River Taff,
Yeah.
and it's formed from the Taff Wrekin and the Taff Fawr. They both arise on Pen y Fan within yards of each other, so we say. Don't know the exact distance, but the one flows westwards and comes down the Taff Fawr Valley, and this little one then flows westwards, but it comes down the Taff Wrekin Valley, which comes basically from if you're at the top reservoirs, you're actually looking at them from the top of Pen y Fan.
That's amazing. So basically the walk you picked is a walk that we can take along the Taff Trail from Cardiff or from further deep in the valleys to follow the river all along different stops. And you have chosen a spot for us near a reservoir that actually uses a lot of the natural resource to provide our water supplies. Tell me a little bit more about why you picked this walk and this spot for us and walking with water in Wales.
Well, I picked the walk because it's very navigable for most people. It starts in Cardiff, and we know, being local, how many people mainly travel on it by cycling, but it is very walkable. And if along the way there are B&Bs and things like that where people can stay, and there's also an awful lot of interesting heritage, which is sometimes a detour off the main track, but it's there. You Coming up through the valley, there are some old heritage viaducts and stuff like that used to be in place, but sadly now you can't see much of them left. And then coming up, you pass the old, some of these sites of the old collieries, which have been marked as sites, but which are now got houses building on them. When you come up to Merthyr, you're actually coming to the cradle of the Industrial Revolution, because this is where the Industrial Revolution, they do say, started. We had the Gyfarthur Iron Works, which is part of the walk with the Taff Trail, that was started in 1820. So obviously before 1820 there was a lot taking place to make sure that the ironworks had sufficient water to run it, because what we must realise is that throughout the ages, water's been one of the biggest friends of man that we've probably got on the planet. They took water off both the river systems for the ironworks, and in itself there's a history that is so vast that we cannot go into at this time.
But it's fascinating. So if I take this walk from Cardiff along the Taff Trail, coming to your hometown of Merthyr and past it, I think it's a beautiful town and a beautiful route as well. I can spot so much history of Industrial Revolution, Welsh heritage and culture, and like you say, our relationship with water and how it actually fueled our economy in Wales, but also our heritage and our history. So I love that about this. So this is your town that we're close. This is your home. Yes. And apart from all the different beautiful sites, in terms of nature and through your angling background, what else does this place mean to you? What does it mean to you to be here alongside the river and walk by the Taff Trail?
Well, I was brought up in Merthyr. I started fishing when I was 11 years of age, And it's literally a known fact, you could not fish below Merthyr, because first of all we had the Morris Brook coming into Merthyr town centre, which took the waste from some of the big factories such as ICI, which were built after the war. But prior to that, it also took the waste from the ironworks. So there wasn't much fishing below the ironworks. But when the ironworks closed in 1920, a local angling club was set up, and they had the fishing rights from the town all the way up to the area we're living in now, which is probably the best part of 8 kilometres.
Wow.
And the Taff Trail follows that. And my interest in fishing started there. Sadly, through the early years of the Angling's associations, things had to change, and in 1967, 2 of the local angling clubs amalgamated to form the current one. But then looking back over those years, we had really serious pollutions on the rivers, such as a vat of cyanide being dropped into it. We've had a discharge from another tanker that let a lot of poisonous substance into the river. So I've seen the river at its best and at its worst. But in recent years, the important thing we must remember now, it runs through our capital city, and you can now fish from the headwaters to the capital city, and it's actually full of fish.
I've lived in Cardiff for 20 years, and actually I'm so glad to be speaking to you. You're a little bit of a legend for me in that sense, because you have seen the history of changing the water quality of a river from quite bad, from industrial activity and environmental negligence almost, to a good one. How do you feel about it today?
Well, I'm extremely pleased at the positive attitude that's been taken out to looking after our waters. We've always had our problems with sewer overflows in the valleys, but then again, although these things are happening, that was the way the Victorians designed the sewerage system. Sadly, it would not comply to today's standards, but without them we would not have a sewerage system in any case. So I closely follow that, because obviously water quality has been what is really important to me for the things that live in the river.
Yeah. And what lives in the river here?
Well, up here we've got trout, the occasional eel. We've got one of the most important species, which is classified under the Habitats Directive as special, and that's the bullhead. I was rather surprised to hear that came under the Habitats Directive, because our river is so full of them, it's unbelievable. So, we are unique in that way, because not many rivers have got them. You get the occasional coarse fish, but not many. But then as you go down the Taff, then you start getting where the fish have managed to come up from Cardiff Bay. You've got chub, you've got roach, you've got grayling in the lower end. And the grayling seem to have come further up the river than ever, and they are now coming through the fish pass, which Environment Agency, the predecessor of Natural Resources Wales, built the Treforest. So they've come up the river a great deal now, and obviously this pleases the angler, because they've got some of the fish for all the year round.
And what you're saying is that really Wales has got amazing natural heritage and biodiversity that sometimes we forget that it is easy to interact with it when we just take a walk or interact in an activity, and you experience and you share that. So is this the right time of year for people to come and spot all this different life in the fish?
So. But one of the main things I'd like to point out is people coming up the Taff Trail will look at the river and they'll think, oh, this is wonderful, but they see flowing water, but they don't realise that flowing water comes from mainly from the reservoirs on both headwaters of the Taff.
Okay.
So of course there's a compensation flow coming out of those, which, to be honest, my angling club fought to keep back in the 80s. It used to be when the original reservoir was built, over 6 million gallons a day. I'm sorry I'm talking in gallons, but that's
fine.
my age. They applied then in 1955, in the 50s after the war, to reduce that compensation flow because the water companies realised that their water supply was going down quicker than it had been for some years. So that had to be done by an Act of Parliament, which was achieved. And since then, we've got the benefit, even through the longest droughts, to have that compensation flow feeding this river, which is far better than some of the other rivers around Wales.
That is really interesting because last year was one of the hottest years in history in England and Wales and across Europe actually.
Yeah.
And we experienced drought conditions in Wales and a lot of people don't understand that. How was the river at that time of drought?
Well, obviously there's a critical point in the reservoir where Welsh Water is going to look at how much water's in there, and then they have the chance then to apply for a drought order certificate, which gives them the opportunity to drop the compensation water to 2 million gallons a day. Now, I've seen that, and at that point then, you really know the river is low.
Yeah.
Even people say the town centre, it's gone.
Yeah.
Because below the reservoir, when they built the reservoir, it's one of those valleys where they actually took all the main feeder streams off the top end of the River Taff and the River Taff over on the other side.
So when you say this to me, I think that I see this really strong link between what I do at home and how that impacts my river. Because this is my river, I walk by it, I live by it.
Yes.
So if I don't do something at home to change my behaviour, then my water company, Welsh Water, might still need to continue drawing more water or not being able to compensate for the impact of drought. Therefore, if I do something, maybe I will help the river and nature and possibly my bills as well, if I have a meetup. So what should I do, Tony? Tell me, what should I do? What can we do to help the river, the environment, nature? Have you got any thoughts?
Well, obviously, really, the saving of water is important from the price you pay on your bill. But then some people can afford to use it as much as they want to, and it doesn't worry them. But I always look back at this on our water supplies. We are living in what the Victorians left us, because I think it was back in the 50s that one of the last reservoirs in Wales was built, but all the rest are from the Victorian age.
Wow.
And this is important. They did try building reservoirs in England, and some of the thoughts were that they could transport some of the water around the country as wanted, but then to put all the pipes down to transport the water is extremely expensive. So we have to try to save our own water, really. And I feel that if there was some way that we could, using the power of the media today, have a lifetime camera on all our reservoirs to show people in the cities how quickly our reservoirs are dropping.
That's a good idea.
Until they actually see it,
Yeah.
as I said, they walk along the river's trail, well, there's water in it when we're not short of water. But when you come up here, up into the headwaters, and you see the reservoirs, and you realise how rapidly they're going down, it makes you realise we are getting short of water. It's very sad, because most people will turn around and say in Wales, why are we short of water when we got all these floods in the winter? But a reservoir has got a maximum storage capacity. Therefore, once that's reached, it overflows, and that's what causes the floods down the river. There's no control over it, but there's also no way of saving it. So it's wasted water from our point of view, from the point of view of consumption.
Yes, amazing. Well, in terms of water consumption, do you know what your water consumption is?
Yes, I have worked it out, having spoken to Leah, I will be honest. It's around about 117 litres a day, and I did, because we're only two living in the house, I sort of perhaps pushed it up a little bit by saying perhaps an extra wash in a washing machine or something like that, just to see. And they just came back and said, well, I'm just outside what they would call a responsible limit. Or,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about your river, your town, the quality that we need to know, and about why we should walk with water along the Taff Trail to this spot?
Well, I think, because I've worked with angling, and with many people along the Taff who are interested in angling, we appreciate the cleanliness of the river. But this cleanliness sometimes doesn't get out to the general public, because all they see, like I said before, is a river running past them. But then we look at the nitty-gritty in the river, like the bugs that live in the river, the life that lives in the river, and many people walk past it and they don't even know that is there.
Absolutely.
So that to me is something that we need to get out to the general public, because they wouldn't know what they're losing until all that's gone.
So that's what we're trying to do with Walking with Water, and thank you so much for contributing one of our walks and spots for people to get to think about water, nature, fish, bugs, history, community, and how the nearby reservoirs impact the levels of water that are available to nature and us.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Yes,
Tony.
no
That was
problem.
wonderful. Thank you for being our guest.
No problem.
What would you like Waterfall to cover next? Send your water-saving topics to podcast@ccwater.org.uk.
So, I hope everyone can hear the beautiful flow of the River Arth. I'm here with Rebecca Wyn Kelly, or Beck, in Aberarth. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, Leah.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're here.
My name, well, you've already introduced me. I'm a visual artist and I was raised here in Aberarth. And my work that I create has a really strong pull towards the water. So I'm always kind of trying to seek ways to visualise the effect that water injustice or climate injustice has on the people living in those areas.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to be here because this is the area in West Wales where my love affair with Wales started. I started in Aberystwyth and we were so close yet so far, only to meet in Cardiff later on. So I love this spot, and tell us exactly where we are now.
So we are in Aberarth and this is the woods in Aberarth, and we are walking a footpath that has been used for hundreds of years. So this is a footpath that was used by the monks from Strata, Florida, to walk down from the abbey and to use the fishing pools that were gifted to them in the sea. And it's also a path that's been trodden by local people and kind of people of significance in history, like the witch Maribeth Lambita. So, when you walk this path, you've got to imagine that your ancestors were kind of walking down here and how that relates to me. And what my place in Aberarth at the moment is in relation to all of these wonderful stories and histories that have kind of unfolded in this village.
And the way that I got here to find you is I actually basically found the village hall, parked there, and sought out after a pedestrian crossing, which is a proper pedestrian crossing. I found the little bridge that took me over the River Arth, where I could see the water levels being quite low in June 2023. And then we basically just went past the bridge and saw a small path entry. So I looked for that, and then the path almost opened as if I chose the right path.
It's instinct. We use a lot of that, when we're walking in nature.
So tell me why you picked this walk for Walking with Water in Wales with CCW.
Basically, this path is, like I say, I grew up here, so this path and this river is part of my DNA. So it just feels like home to walk here, really, and I'm super connected to it all through the year and all through the seasons. So there isn't really any other choice for me when it comes to kind of picking your favourite spots for anything, because it is always going to be Aberarth. It's very difficult to leave, or very difficult to imagine that there's anything more beautiful and magical than here.
It is really beautiful and magical. Imagine ferns and loads of moss and beautiful scents. And
the dappled light. It's a sort of photographer's dream or an artist's dream, really, because you kind of leave that road that we went off and you kind of enter into this kind of hyper magical space is the best way to describe it. So your imagination and your instincts and your senses are all kind of like just awoken and awakened when you walk here. So, yeah.
So obviously it means home to you.
Yeah.
And connection and art and nature. What else does it evoke for you? What does it make you feel? Why do you want to share it with the world and people in England and Wales?
Well, I just think there's this real kind of awakening to being and in nature and reconnecting. Feels like lots of the conversations are around this idea that we have like lost our way with how we be in nature. So, you know, I'd advise anybody to kind of get out there and spend time walking next to water and in, you know, I like to walk really slowly as well. So I've got this kind of concept of forest bathing and kind of river bathing, but water bathing, and like, so you just take it slowly and absorb what's around you instead of kind of thinking I'm going to walk from A to B. It's almost like take a shorter amount of time or distance, if you like, and just really absorb everything that you see around you and just give yourself some time to kind of rest and relax into, as you can hear, I'm listening now, birds, river, I can see leaves kind of dappling in the light, I can see the dew. So yeah, just slow down. And that's what walking is for me. It's not really about kind of getting, you know, like delivering a sort of walk of like 10k. I'm like, no, we'll just do half a mile and then we'll see what we see.
And I can't emphasize enough how much the scent of this forest and this space, including the scent of this water, is really like taking me back to places that really make me feel really well and very, very good. So I hope you're also going to take me to a place where I can dip in the water. Is it
yeah, well, I'm going to take you this way. It's forking here, but we're going to go down here.
Yeah, closer to the river. I like that.
Closer to the river. So that's the joy of this walk. You can, like, the River Arth is really accessible for walking. You can cusp it most of the way. Well, to a point, not all the way through the river, but on this walk particularly. So you can just get really close and intimate with the river. And I'm going to take you to a really special spot, which is where I swim all the time. And it's got a really important place in our history. Because all the way along this river are different pools, and they've been named by locals, and they've all got their own stories, and villagers kind of tell their own stories. But this one is the story that I want to tell, and this is a really sacred place.
Tell me about this story whilst we walk to that.
So the story is about a witch that used to live along the River Arth, and her name is Maribel Bitter. And she was kind of like loved and hated by the community, but she's really fascinating as a feminine character because it's really difficult, as we know throughout the whole of history, to find stories of women and water. And, you know, when I started looking, they were difficult to come by, only to find that there was one here in this village about this wonderful woman who had magical powers, who was both a healer and also someone that the people feared. And as we know, you know, witches were punished in many different ways around Europe. And here in Wales, they used to do a lot of punishing in cold water. Oh. So mythology has it, or legend has it, or story has it that Maribel Bitter was once pushed into this pool as punishment for the fact that a herd of cows had all hemorrhaged their calves, and she was blamed for this. Of course, it wasn't Maribel Bitter. And now what's interesting is that I use this pool as a form of therapy. So you've got this real circular concept of like why women use water and what it was used for. So this is where apparently they dipped her. So the pool is called the Crochan, which is a Welsh name for a cauldron.
Wow, of course. The cauldron where you drown a strong woman in cold water. Interesting. Yeah. But you're changing basically. So you're kind of changing a story and a narrative and connecting to nature and really finding your peace through this walk. And you're really sharing a lot of history and beautiful Welsh mythology and folklore. So it is like a walk back in time, but in Welsh culture as well. Leads me to a question about what does this make you want to do, as well as what you've done. What does this make you want to do after you walk with water? How does it inspire you?
Well, it inspires me in lots of ways, really. And there's this kind of like deep knowledge that, you know, my big interest is about, you know, justice for water. And, you know, what I really want to do and what I really hope I achieve in life is to kind of like put a micro lens on this body of water here that runs through our village that is so important, and kind of put a lens on that allows us to learn and make changes on a global scale. So it's like, if we're here protecting this water, that will also affect other people all around the world.
Yeah.
So I love this idea of like living symbiotically, and you know, we all know that water is connected. Like look, we're in the forest. The roots of the trees are all connected. Every body of water
Doesn't know boundaries, does it?
Has no boundaries, has no borders. And you know, when you bring the clouds into all of that, it's like, how far can you go with water?
Yeah.
And there's this kind of like real kind of global community, like a sense of a global community of people who are able to kind of like, you know, use water as a way to heal the damage that we've done and the damage that the Anthropocene has had on our planet.
Yeah, and basically change how we also respond to problems,
Yeah.
like up in arms,
Yeah, exactly.
shouting. There is a space for sometimes response, but there's a space for engagement. I really love your message, actually. And I was going to say, it's really important to remember that all these different people you brought together come from all walks of life. Like, you might listen to this podcast and think, oh, here are two airy-fairy, arty, hippie ladies. No, actually,
No.
I'm a scientist and a legal person and policy person. The people you've brought together come from all walks of life, science, business, and we all connect at the same level through this river. And I'm just gonna, because we could talk for the whole day on this, but I do want to swim before. I want to test the water and report back. So, do you know, Beck, because we have a league table, according to Mike and Karen from CCW, my colleagues who present this. Do you know how much water you use at home? Because we are going through a really hot spell. I think it's been 3 weeks since it hasn't rained, or maybe a month.
Gosh.
In Wales. So, in June 2023. Do you know how much water you use at home?
I don't know how much water I use at home. And do you know what? That's an interesting question, because it's like, we monitor our electric, we monitor our gas because of these kind of like really high prices, you know, and we're lucky in Wales because we are protected as far as having clean water and drink, you know, that's a really great thing. But actually, when I think about it, I don't even really know where my water like monitor is, like where I read how much water which is fascinating, because I know how much electric I use every day, and gas, because like I'm kind of like, you know, trying to save money like we all are. But having said that, you know, I'm quite good at lowering my use of water.
How do you do that? Give us some tips. Tell us about it.
The biggest one is obviously, you know, the toilet. So, you know, if it's yellow, let it mellow. We all know in the 3P rule. So, you know, there's only a certain amount of things that go in the toilet. The 3 Ps, paper, poo and pee. So there's that. Brushing my teeth, you know, keep the tap off until then. And also quick showers, and I really kind of like do the quick shower, because despite all of that, I do love a bath. So we can't all be perfect, and we all have to admit that it's this kind of holistic approach to that, you know.
I love that.
And
it's honest and real.
Yeah, it's honest and real. So I will have really quick showers in the morning so as I can have like a bath with my salts. Yeah, so those sorts of things. And also, you know, like when you're cooking's really, you know, like we're all like, you know, when you've got like hot water in a pan, it's like, do you need to have 2 pans of hot water boiling, or can you like put the veg to one side and put like the peas in with your pasta, stuff like that?
Oh, and the flavours on that.
I know, so that's a whole other conversation, water and cooking.
Oh,
we can do that too.
Mike loves that. Yes, Mike. We will do the podcast at Leah's Kitchen. We will.
Yeah.
I just felt overwhelmed last week. I can't thank you enough. First of all, this place is magical. You brought me back to my Welsh roots, and I'm not even from here.
Yeah.
I love this space, and it reminds me why I love this culture, this country so much. So thank you for bringing me to your walk with water in Wales and Aberarth, and I really, really recommend that you come here and visit it, and maybe seek out Beck. Do you want to give us your website so that you can find out about the work?
It's pretty easy. It's my name. It's www.rebeccawynkelly.com. The email address is on there, and you know, just pop me an email. I'm always responding to other people all around the world that are doing things with water and wanting to kind of share knowledge and kind of like maybe tap into a few things that I'm doing. So yeah,
she doesn't necessarily do tour guides. Just to be clear. She's a very busy lady, but she might.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much.
You're
for this.
welcome.
Thank you for doing Walking with Water in Wales.
CCW, passionate about championing the best interests of everyone who uses water, now and in the future.
Great stuff there, and I love it when we have outdoors interviews. I love hearing the rustling, the
burbling,
the birds tweeting, all that good stuff. But really enjoyed that. So if you're listening to this and you want to find out more, I believe, Tom, we have a super shiny, lovely web portal.
We do. It's asset stuffed.
Assets again.
walkwithwater.org.uk. The link's down below. So if the chats with Rebecca and Tony have inspired you and you want to go on your own Walk in Water adventure, then we have a route finder on there. We have a guide to literally hundreds of walks on there that are available at your fingertips. And, also, if you're walking by water, maybe you're on your own or maybe you want a bit of ambience, download some Waterfall as well. I think they go together perfectly. So I encourage people to download more episodes, to get outdoors and to just engage with Walk in Water, because it is a fantastic initiative that we're very proud of.
I'm going to sound like a total nutter here, but that is actually one of the... I listen to podcasts when I go for a run, I love going for runs by the canals. I'm in Birmingham, loads of canals.
Oh, yes,
Love the canals, and there's Edgbaston Reservoir, lovely. Get the whack on the podcast. Sometimes listen to us. That does sound a bit wrong, doesn't it?
I'm the same. Look, streaming by the stream is encouraged. We'll say that.
Tom quite clearly has been working on that line for months.
It was there.
This is the pinnacle of his producing career. Streaming by the stream.
I think I deserve a donut now. I do. I think I do.
Yeah, I think Tom's earned his money today. But look, fantastic stuff, and please do check out that website. As Tom said, it'll be in the show notes. So I really hope you find the assets, I use just the website, useful. It also signposts all the great walks that your local water companies have as well. I find that fascinating because there's loads of great stuff that your water company has, loads of great walks. So check those out. Check out where your water comes from in your local area. Help make that connection. Really important message out. And fun. A really good, accessible thing to do.
Definitely.
And with the school holidays coming up, great fun things to do. The kids, I'm always looking for things to do. How do I occupy the kids? This is a great thing to do.
It is. And there's a booklet as well, which we would have mentioned in the main course of the episode, which has lots of activities, and we've put them in loads of nature centres, but also you can just download that straight from the website in English and in Welsh as well.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, we've run out of time for this edition of Waterfall. Really hope you enjoyed it. We've had fun. Tom certainly had fun. And we will see you again soon.
Yes.
Don't forget to check out our extensive back catalogue. We've got lots. I think this is episode 45.
I believe you're right. 45 episodes.
45 episodes of fun. I mean, if you're looking for things to occupy yourself in the summer holidays,
there you go.
You can just spend
a whole day's worth.
Yeah, exactly. So you're welcome for occupying your children just playing Waterfall over and over again to them. But that's bye from me, Mike.
And it's goodbye from me, producer Tom. Goodbye.